2016 seems to be the year that human beings went from 2 genders to 3, 4, or 5. Your gender is no longer something you are born with. It's something you decide without reference to any physical evidence. Gender is now determined by what you call yourself, which you may determine by how you feel about yourself. This is a stunning victory for individual rights. How you feel about yourself, or what you call yourself, or don't call yourself, must now be respected by everyone else, even if you can't clearly explain it to us. So this is not just some emerging social phenomena. Government has now decided that how you feel about yourself and what you call yourself must be protected by law as a right. It is important enough for government to require the construction of a 3rd bathroom in every school and to prosecute your deniers for harassment, discrimination, bullying, hate crimes, and social intolerance. You don't have to prove your sexual identity, just declare it. And that is what you are, and that is what the government must protect. That is a very important development in official civic policy. This means that how you feel about yourself, what you declare yourself to be, may not be denied by government, and in fact must be protected by the enforcement powers of government. Well, with government now in the business of protecting our feelings and our views of ourselves, why is it not protecting the feelings of those who believe they have the right to travel, to own property, and earn a living without paying taxes for those things as if they were privileges? Those things are rights under law. The law also says those rights may not be infringed. That means they may not be taxed, licensed, or controlled by the state. Yet we have income tax, property tax, motor vehicle taxes, which if we do not pay, the state will forcibly prevent us from exercising those rights. That is infringement, and that is criminal violation of our guaranteed freedoms. Your right to own property, earn a living, and travel without taxation, licensing, control by the state is specifically granted in our Constitution, just as your right to declare your gender is protected as your pursuit of happiness. If government will take your word on your sexual identity, how can it presume to dictate your civic identity? What's the difference? If we have arbitrary command of our gender, then we certainly have arbitrary command of ourselves as free people or servants of the state. Government cannot protect my right to call myself a woman and then claim it does not have need to protect my right to call myself a beneficiary of the rights granted by our nation's supreme law. If someone can claim they are a woman when they do not have a woman's physiology, then the claim itself has all the legal power and the physical facts have none. The declaration alone is forceful. Under the law, what is legal and what is factual have nothing to do with each other. The legal world is one of fantasy, where corrupt legislators can invent new realities to suit their corrupt agendas all they want just by shoving through some legislation. The law is a way to say something is true without any regard for the facts. That is why a declaration of gender is legal, regardless of whether it's factual. The law is a pretend universe, and our founding fathers knew this. Once a law is written, it is a trap. It cannot change. It may be corrupt, outdated, or misapplied by incompetent officials. It may be ill-conceived from the beginning, or it may become repugnant over time. Our legislators may not have time to fix it. That is why they created the jury system and gave juries the power to nullify the law whenever they think it's best. The reason that jury nullification of the law is so important is the law is not created to affirm any facts. The law is contrived to control society with arbitrary declarations pulled out of thin air. The law is a mechanism of social control, nothing more, nothing less. That control is no better than the integrity of those who make and enforce laws. That integrity is seriously defective because it is human beings who are responsible for creating and enforcing laws. Human beings who can be bought and sold like marbles. Human beings who have selfish personal motives. Human beings who may exercise greed and self-interest at any opportunity. Our laws, what we are told is the foundation of civil order, represent a rat's nest of special interests, partisan advantage, personal agendas, unjust behavioral controls, and unconstitutional empowerment of the state over the individual, because that is how lawmaking works. Most of our laws are simply made up to benefit the people who make laws. If we were only interested in truth and facts, we would not need laws. But the lawmaking process allows our weak and selfish politicians to turn the unreal into the real, to squeeze and stretch society into a form that the politician finds pleasing to him. Just as most of us like to tidy up the kitchen, politicians like to impose order on society to please themselves. I might see myself as a woman, or I might see myself, as our Constitution does, as having unalienable rights which may not be infringed. Either way, my right to define myself and my relationship to society is my right. I do have the right to identify myself as a woman, and I do have the right to reserve and enjoy all constitutionally protected rights of travel, property ownership, and to keep the returns of my labor. If I can imagine myself to be a woman, and the government must protect that idea, then the government must protect my declaration that I have the right to not have my property seized by the IRS, or property taxes, or confiscated by civil asset forfeiture. I may not be forced by the police to pull over on the highway when I have not harmed anyone or caused any damage. Government must protect my declared civic identity, that I may own property without taxation, that I may travel on the roads without paying taxes, licenses, or fees, that I may select or refuse automobile insurance and medical insurance without coercion of government, and I may not be prosecuted for any harmless act, however risky that act may be. It is the damage, injury, and violation of rights that makes us liable, not our unpopular or risky behavior. If we are to have anything resembling a free state, those freedoms must be guaranteed and protected for all citizens. If government is obligated to protect your choice of gender, then obviously government is obligated to protect your constitutionally guaranteed rights, which, by the way, it is currently failing to protect. If I can decide that I'm a woman, and government must enforce that, then I can decide that I have fundamental human rights as enumerated in our Constitution, and government must enforce that. In my view, that means no more mass surveillance, no more IRS, no more unprovoked wars, no more state and local taxation without my personal voluntary consent, no more enforcement of corrupt, contrived, and unconstitutional statutes, codes, ordinances, and regulations, no more prosecution of harmless behavior, no more torture, no more killing without due process, and no more pretense that government has any authority above and beyond that which you and I granted. If any of that seems radical to you, then you have been conditioned to accept slavery, servitude, and to give your property away to government without question or complaint. If that is not slavery, then slavery has never existed and never will. Our media and our government have recognized and respected the rights of transgender people. Now it is time for media and government to respect and recognize the rights of everyone.